Hello. Today I want to talk about something that is plaguing League of Legends and this. And before I start, I just want to say that yes, I'm not using voice text to speech. It's too hard to edit. Honestly, it takes way too long to edit, and I just really don't want to. But if enough people ask me, even if then yeah, I'll do it. I'll use text to speech if I see that people really want this. But I'll just pick Master Yi real quick to show something that I think is plaguing League of Legends, and Riot needs to change it fast. Now, if you noticed in the bunch of patches recently, Riot have been nerfing lifesteal hard, like really hard. As you can see, all lifesteal is complete and utter garbage. Now, Omnivamp has not been nerfed that hard, but for the most part, yeah, 7%. It's been nerfed hard, right? Some items have not been nerfed, but the problem with Omnivamp is that when it comes to it, it's just lifesteal, right? Because if it's an AoE damage, then it heals for fucking nothing. But let's talk for another day. But the idea of lifesteal is survivability. Now I think this is really important to understand, and that is that every champion wants to live. He wants to have an advantage. Once you get a gold lead, you want to have an advantage. Now, of course, having a kill advantage still counts as an advantage over someone, but if you're an AD carry, especially a melee AD carry, and you have to risk something going in, then you want to have an advantage not only over one person, as you have a kill advantage on that person since he's lower gold than you, but you also want to have an advantage over the entire team. And that's where the problem lies in, because you want to be able to live. Every champion wants that. Every champion wants that. Every champion wants that ability to live. And lifesteal is a survivability based on damage. And in my opinion, it's a good mechanic that Riot should not but should not nerf this hard. Now, let me just pull up op.gg. It's going to champion tiers, and I'll go into two AD carries, like melee AD carries, that is being Bel'Veth. As you can see, this is like the normal build, Kraken Slayer into Blade of the Ring King into Gwyn's Raid, but you already see something, right? You already see this. Death's Dance, seeing this, Frostfire Gauntlet, which has been played in LEC. So just understand, this is not like a troll pick. This is something that a lot of people do, like at higher levels. Wits End, Titanic Hydra. You're seeing what I'm talking about. If I go into like another champion tier, let's go to another champion. Let's go to Master Yi. I have no idea where he is. Probably really low. I'm at top lane. I'm a fucking idiot. Master Yi, right? See, Sunfire, right? You'll see again the same ideas. If you look into champions, even in bot lane, I think one of the champions that really likes to abuse this is Kog'Maw. If I'm not mistaken. I know that he did used to. Yeah, once again, Titanic Hydra. You're seeing these items that should not be built. What is causing that? On its base form, a lot of people talk about damage being too high, and I don't think that's it. I don't think it's damage at all. I was playing Master Yi the other day. I was like second item, and I was doing no fucking damage. Like, none. And that's where the problem lies in. The damage limitation and lifesteal nerfs. So maybe you understand that there is a problem. Let me explain why that's a problem. And why it's more of a problem than a lot of people think. Because a lot of people are like, okay, it's not that bad. Like, I can deal with it. When a Master Yi goes for this build, then his damage output is limited. When a Bel'Veth goes for this, okay, Kog'Maw is a bit of an exception, but Kog'Maw is just a broken piece of shit that has way too much flat damage. And I do want to rework Kog'Maw, and I've already thought of the entire thing, but I want to make a good video, and editing is hard. But so I'll talk about Kog'Maw later. right now I want to talk about lifesteal per se, but like, so a lot of people are like, okay, I can deal with it. It's not that bad. But the problem is not that it's bad. The problem that it's toxic for the game. So let's say you're Master Yi. You're sitting on your 2 items. You deal good damage, not incredible, but you deal good damage, right? And here's your problem. You want to actually be able to live. As you see, I have 2,300 health. I'm level 18. That is nothing. Let's say I have 7%, 8% life. So 8% of all auto attack damage I deal is lifesteal. So if you see the DPS I'm outputting, right, when it gets to like this, so it's like 600 DPS, which means if you do the actual amount and it's lower than 60 health, obviously every attack you heal for 60. Some actual mathematician should be able to like actually calculate how much of a normal health you would be getting, but that's the thing. You could always you can always like what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry. Lifesteal is basically health based on the damage you output. So if you deal more damage, more health, more survivability, that's good. When an AD carry wants that. So if an AD carry does good, is ahead, has a lot of items, then he can heal. Then he has more survivability. But once an AD carry builds fucking this, like that, or maybe actually more like, no, that's good. This thing. So the damage is much inferior. If you look at 1,000 DPS, it's not bad. Of course it's not bad, especially when I haven't popped my ult or my E. But if you'll see like an actual build, sorry. Usually I'll go something like this, right? So you'll go in. See, the DPS is twice as much. Actually, more than twice. Yeah, that's a lot of fucking DPS. So you see that the DPS is much lower. So it's not that much of a problem because you were lowering your DPS. But think about it, in a sustained fights, which all games are now going to be sustained fights with the durability update, with you dealing less damage, with everything like that. A champion doesn't want lifesteal. Someone like Master Yi does not want lifesteal. Lifesteal does not give him enough survivability for it to be worth it. The only reason you go for Blade of the Ruined King is for the damage. And that's where the problem lies in. The problem lies in when you allow champions like AD carries to have survivability that isn't dependent on their damage. I know that's the hard concept for Riot to grasp for some reason, but a champion should be able to express himself when he's ahead. When an AD carry is ahead, he should be able to live longer. It's not something you should nerf and nerf and nerf and nerf, especially with the durability update, especially with AD carries dealing less damage. You understand the concept? It's when you talk about flat survivability, flat health, like you just gain the health, you just gain the survivability. Something like this, right? You just gain the survivability. I'm getting way more health, way more tankiness. I'm getting way more stuff for doing less damage. And that's not something an AD carry should be able to build. This is not something that should be rewarded. An AD carry should be able to heal based on the damage. Then he's actually required to output more damage. That's healthy for the game. That means that an AD carry is actually doing his job as an AD carry, because he's going to get that health. That's the problem. That's what Riot does not understand, is that an AD carry needs to be able to live. A ranged AD carry, a melee AD carry, doesn't matter. He needs to be able to live. If he isn't going to live, then he's just going to be useless. That's not something you should limit. An AD carry should be able to live. That's exactly what the fucking durability update was for. So AD carries could live. They could actually be able to live an assassin. That was something that was missing from the game. And I don't know why. I was so happy when the durability update got, but like, then I see the lifesteal nerf, the omnivamp nerfs, the removal of runes, stuff like this. This all stuff limits AD carries so much that you don't see AD carries build lifesteal anymore. Because they don't want to. It gives them fucking nothing. Like, overall in a team fight, maybe it'll give them like 200 health overall, even with the damage they deal. Because they just don't deal enough damage for the lifesteal to be worth it. But the AD carry has to live somehow. The AD carry has to live somehow. And that's not something like solo queue. As I said, this is not something like just like people on solo queue do on like lower ranks. Because people in LEC have also gotten this. They see, wait, this gives me way more survivability. These builds just allow me to actually live. Unlike something like lifesteal, which never has enough healing for it to be worth it, especially when you fucking factor in grievous wounds, shit like that. It will never be worth it. But when you give someone flat survivability, then AD carry is not required to deal damage. He's not required to deal more damage. In a sustained fight, when he lives longer, then he's going to output more damage just by living. That's why a lot of people don't recognize, or maybe people do, but just don't think about it hard enough, is that overall in a much longer, much more sustainable sustained team fight, like, you're going to be able to deal more damage even with a lower DPS just because you can live. And that's something that Wild Rift has been having for a long time, and nobody has a problem with it. Why is Wild Rift not getting nerfed fucking lifesteal into the ground? Because they don't need to. Because the balance already keeps lifesteal. Okay, Wild Rift is not balanced. I don't want to even go there. Wild Rift is not balanced at all. But like, that's where the game should lie. You should be able to live as an AD carry, but the health has to be limited by your lifesteal. The survivability has to be limited by the damage you deal. That's when lifesteal is so brilliant. That's when lifesteal actually works. Now, don't get me wrong, lifesteal does need to be limited, especially on bruisers, especially on champions like Aurelia and stuff like that. Lifesteal does need to be limited. Now, I'm not a genius. I don't really know how Riot can do that. But in my professional opinion, lifesteal should be something like let's say, I think most lifesteal should come from mythic items. So what I'm saying is, like, imagine if like Immortal Shield Bow, instead of getting attack damage and health, gave like lifesteal. So you build Immortal Shield Bow, let's say instead of the 7 lifesteal here, then every let's say it's like 3 or 5 lifesteal, you know, maybe even 7, right? But like every item you buy gives you more lifesteal, and that's just in like a actual amount. So when you snowball, when you actually get kills, get higher, do stuff, and you're allowed to heal more, you're allowed to have more lifesteal. Now that's still a problem because champions like Aurelia, once again, could really like break this mechanic. So it does need to be limited, and I get that, I really do. But this is not healthy, and I know exactly what's going to happen. These items are going to get nerfed on AD carries, like specifically on ranged champions, like champions like Belveth and Master Yi are going to get changes that are supposed to limit them or like make them want to build tanky less. But honestly, the way you make champions like this not want to build health items, or make champions like Master Yi and Belveth not want to build health and tank items, is with a simple mechanic. Make their survivability based on the damage they output. So outputting more damage makes them more survivable, which means that they're gonna be alienated from building these stuff. You know what that mechanic is called? It's called fucking lifesteal. Stop nerfing lifesteal. Stop nerfing lifesteal. This shit is not healthy. It's not healthy for the state of the game. Please. That's all I have for today. I hope this makes sense. I really do. Because to me it makes perfect sense. But a lot of stuff makes sense to me which are not true. So maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe I'm just wrong. But to me, this is not healthy. To me, this is not good for the state of the game. Don't get me wrong, I love these builds. This is one of the funnest thing to abuse in like solo queue. Of course it is. I love abusing stupid mechanics for no reason. But when you come to the state of the game, where in competitive games, they just realize that building damage is not worth it anymore, it becomes boring. It becomes stale. The game becomes worse. And that's where I think this needs to stop. I think champions like Master Yi and Bovet should be played around lifesteal. What Riot could always do is, of course, make champions like Master Yi and Bovet, specifically champions like that, have a specific mechanic around lifesteal. So, let's say like all lifesteal is still normal for champions like Aurelia or something like that, but like champions like Master Yi and Belveth get an amplified lifesteal or something like bullshit like that. And that might be too broken. Maybe the other way around. Maybe champions like, maybe they buff all lifesteal but then nerf it on specific champions where it breaks, like Aurelia and stuff like that. Champions that like specifically break lifesteal as a mechanic. Then those specific champions could have like a mechanic. You know how Master Yi's Q specifically scales down with cooldown reduction because people broke it? Maybe the same way, right? If Master Yi's Q could be specifically targeted to not work with cooldown reduction, maybe so should Aurelia. But of course, Aurelia is Riot's pet project. They love Aurelia. Why would they do that? I'm joking, of course, but like, that's what I wanted to get off my back. I think the constant nerfs to lifesteal is bullshit and need to stop. That's it.